You ever wonder what an internet provider is really offering behind all the flashy marketing? Well, today we're taking a look at Frontier. What do they actually bring to the table, and how are they trying to stand out in what's become a super crowded market? Let's find out.
Okay, so let's kick things off with the big question. What does a 100% fiber network actually promise you, the user? I mean, we hear this term thrown around all the time, right? So we're going to see what Frontier says about it and why they've basically made it their flagship offering.
And hey, just so we're all on the same page, everything we're about to go over comes straight from Frontier's own website. We're looking at their pitch directly to you, no middleman.
So here's our game plan. We'll start with their internet offerings, then dive into the promise of fiber. After that, we'll hit the key perks and guarantees, answer your top questions, and finally, we'll wrap it all up with the final connection. Let's jump in. All right, first up, what are you actually buying? According to their site, Frontier basically has two main flavors of internet service, and the difference between them is really at the core of their entire strategy. So on one hand, you've got Frontier Fiber Internet. That's their big one, the 100% fiber optic network. And on the other hand, you've got their standard Frontier Internet. The huge difference here is that fiber connection, which, by the way, they are expanding like crazy. So what's the big deal with fiber anyway?
And that brings us right to the heart of their marketing, the whole promise of fiber. This is where Frontier really goes all in, talking up the speed and what their network can do for our super connected homes.
So, what is a fiber optic network really? Think of it like this, sending data at the speed of light, because that's literally what's happening. It uses these incredibly thin glass strands to shoot information around as pulses of light. This is the tech that makes those mind-blowing speeds we all want actually possible.
And here's what that tech actually delivers. Frontier is offering a whole spectrum of speeds, starting at a really solid 500 megs per second, then jumping up to 1 gig, 2 gig, 5 gig, all the way to a frankly staggering 7 gigs in some places. It's pretty clear they're trying to have an option for everyone, from the person who just streams a few shows to the power user with a crazy smart home setup.
Okay, speed is awesome. We all get that. But what else do you get? Let's take a look at the key perks and guarantees the Frontier is advertising to kind of sweeten the deal. This is a big one. They're making a huge deal out of their data policy. They're positioning themselves against that frustrating old model of data caps and surprise fees on your bill. Frontier's promise is super simple. Unlimited data, no caps, and zero overage charges, period.
And what about setup costs? That fee you always dread? Well, according to their site, installation for every fiber order is free. Zero. That's a pretty big upfront cost that's just gone.
And finally, what happens when something goes wrong? Support. Frontier says they have an expert tech team on standby 24/7. So if your internet decides to take a nap at 2 a.m., they promise help is always there.
Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty. We're going to dig into the fine print and try to answer some of the top questions you'd probably have before even thinking about signing up.
I mean, this is the big one, right? Can I even get this service? Because let's be honest, all the speed in the world doesn't mean a thing if they don't serve your address. Availability is everything.
And here's the official answer, straight from their website. Service and speeds vary by location. The only way you're going to know for sure is to go to their site, punch in your address, and see what they're offering you.
All right, the next huge question on everyone's mind, commitment. Are you going to get locked into a long-term contract?
So here it is, the direct quote that spells it out. While they do have no contract options, they also say that select plans and some of those promotional gift card offers do require a 12-month commitment. So the big takeaway here, you've got to read the fine print on the specific plan you're looking at.
Okay, let's bring it all together. After looking at their speeds, their perks, and their policies, what are the key things you really need to remember from Frontier's own pitch?
So let's just recap the highlights here. Frontier is going all in on its 100% fiber network. They promise unlimited data with no surprise fees. They advertise free installation for that fiber. And you got to remember, while it's not a given, some plans might require a contract.
And, that really leads to a much bigger question for the whole industry. With providers like Frontier making no data caps a major selling point, is unlimited data just becoming the new non-negotiable standard for home internet? It's definitely something to think about. That's all for this one. See you next time.